to mid-market e-commerce market or world is very challenged, and this idea that you're raising money to chase growth for the sake of growth is pretty much an extinct concept. It's a broken model, and so we wanted with Emerge to sort of re-engineer or re-architect the way e-commerce was built from the ground up, right? One of the biggest challenges in e-commerce is customer acquisition cost, right? Because you keep hearing the biggest guys are always paying $50, $100, chasing, all sorts of stuff on Google, on Facebook, online, offline, TV ads. They have this crazy these crazy CPA numbers. For example, Jet.com, which got sold to Walmart, which anyone who knows enough about that story knows it was a sort of a bailout. It was a great bet and a great play, but ultimately Jet was burning crazy amounts of money. But their CPAs were like $100. They were burning like $30 million a month or something like that. So you can't keep up with that if you're not a Mark Lower where you have access to the next couple of $100 million in funding. You're going to dry up if you don't build sustainably, at least in e-commerce. I can always speak to other industries. Some industries are non-revenue models for a while. By default, it's a different story. But from the world that I come, this notion that build, grow, and then reverse engineer profitability, in my view, and in our view at Emerge, is extinct. So this chapter, which I forgot to name, is actually called Zero to Profitability in a year. Okay, and over the last couple of years, so when I sort of left the Team Buy chapter, I came aside after having traveled and spent some time with international entrepreneurs that are building local leaders in Prague, in Barcelona, in Dubai, in London, obviously in the UK, in the US, the markets that we're familiar with and are present in today, and came across the same concept that buying e-commerce companies turns out is cheaper than building them from scratch. Buying millions of members is cheaper than building them from scratch. So with Emerge, we said, let's come back to the drawing board and re-engineer M&A as a core strategy to getting to a certain level of scale rather than buying from the ground up. So fast forward, in about 20 months, we've acquired 4 companies with about 4 million members that had previously collectively invested $75 million into these 4 ventures, and we'd acquired them for about $1.9 million. We have 4 million members, so let's call it 50 cents per member CPA that we've been acquiring at. Pretty damn good, huh? No, I was talking about the beer. But jokes aside, so we kind of amassed this 4 million member base, and we've been tasked and been thinking about how to put all of these companies together and sort of share space, share resources, share email costs, share rent, right? Share fraud prevention, share all sorts of vendor costs, the boring sort of savings that textbook style PE discipline would bring to the table. And then I would get the whole, well, you're still buying crappy companies. But the problem is the perception again, because investors call them crappy companies. They're not crappy brands or crappy customers or crappy merchant relationships. They're crappy P&Ls and balance sheets, right? So that's a very different thing. We're buying assets. We're buying great assets for really, really cheap prices. And we're plugging them into sort of a universal platform and playbook that ultimately unlocks this value if all of a sudden you have the freedom and the cash flow to start reinvesting in things that were working or in technology. So if you remember, I previously said, I jumped into this game because it was not a technology game. Well, now it is, right? So I always told my team, here's sales and here's marketing. And, both of these will only get you this far. The only thing that's going to move you up now is technology, right? So technology is sort of a pillar in how you manage the data. You're sitting on 4 million members, you're sitting on all these transactions, you're sitting on all these shares, these clicks, from different brands, different countries. How do you take all of that and turn it into an advantage? How do you turn it into a data advantage how do you turn it into a technology advantage? And that's exactly at the heart of Emerge. So I've had all these sort of mentors of mine. It's beautiful outside. I had all these mentors of mine say, are you out of your mind? Like, you did like 5 years of daily deals, what an ugly word, daily deals, and you're coming back and doing daily deals again. I'm like, no, I'm not doing daily deals. I'm doing 4 million members at 50 cents to give me the freedom to do whatever I want.